in 5. Greetings and salvations, I'm Unvoff Neverborn, the abyss that slumbers, and you are listening to Eldritch Rants, the show that dares to ask the question. The blank horizon stretched forever. Waves stood almost frozen as the wind blew them up and down, ever so slowly. The distant hills peeked lightly over the haze, and the shimmer of heat beckoned, and yet not really there. The lost ship sailed on, up and down the rolling waves. It wandered this endless sea, never realizing that this sea was sand. The sand sea, with its slow-moving waves, stretched off into the horizon. The lost ship sailed on, just as it had for centuries before this. As it would, until it found harbor. The crew were worse than gone, still here, always would be until they could step upon the docks of a friendly shore to unload. But the sea had no harbor, only the strange black reefs that crossed it, the slow-moving waves of sand, the creatures who hunted in the heat and the night. Birds circled, great striped things that watched, waited, then left. Sagebrush washed against their hull like foam, crashing against the planks, and angry scratches and gentle scrapes. Would they ever find harbor? Would they ever find harbor? The answer to this question and many more will be answered by our panel of experts, including Drew, who is real but doesn't really exist, Gwendy, who is the equivalent of a human unicorn, and of course he has a black belt in bullshit. He is the Baron of Blather. The only difference between what he does and bullshit is all in the swagger. It's Friday Bumpstink. How's it going, everybody?
I got one question about all of that spiel you just did.
You're a unicorn.
I got a spiel. I got a question about that big long spiel you just did, right? So with all of that in mind that you just started off with, if I identified myself as 14.6 million liters or cubic liters of water, could that make me transatlantic?
Oh no, not that joking.
Oh God. Possibly, quite possibly. At any rate, how's everybody going this week? I'm sorry about yesterday, everybody. And I'm hoping that we finally got everything fixed. I've been messing around with it, and apparently it was Apple. The damn bastards had the equivalent of malware taking over my computer and trying to do God knows what. So, so we're gonna, I know we've been trying to do that one topic, one stream format, but I'm gonna stick to, for now, the once a week roundup. We're just gonna jump from topic to topic at random. Anything you guys want to mention or rant about other than Apple sucks? That's my big rant. Before we get going.
I mean, Apple sucks.
Applesauce.
I mean, I spent 6 months working for them doing tech support, so I can agree they suck.
I'm kind of, you can't really sort of count me in this race because I'm a recent inductee into the House of Apple, and I'm quite happy with what I've been given so far.
You talk about their phones or their computers?
Phones, the iPads. Not entirely sure about the computers. However, from what they were years and years and years ago, they were pretty good back then.
Oh, no, I agree. That's why I bought this, because I've been happy with them up until when Steve Jobs died. Apparently after he died, social justice warriors took over, and they're running the place into the ground as far as their computing division is concerned. The phones and everything else is fine, but dear God, what they've got on my computer is the equivalent of malware. I need a special third-party program just to stop it from taking over my bandwidth.
Yeah, there's a YouTube video out there where someone's done a parody of one of those exposés that fucking Apple does, where they show all their new products, where they've actually resurrected Steve Jobs, and he's come back and he's like, I've come back because someone told me in the afterlife that you were fucking things up really bad. And then he just goes down all through all the products since he's died, and he's like, yeah, and you thought that was a good idea. You're a fuckwit. Okay. And then you went and did this. You bloody morons. I told you not to fucking do this first. It's really funny. You got to look it up.
All right. Yeah, well, I think we're all in agreement on that. Real quick here, I want to try and at least bring up one historical item every once in a while. I believe this month is the anniversary of the creation of toaster eggs, the quick solution for breakfast egg skippers back in 1972 to 1975 when it died. You could get eggs in the shape of Eggo waffles that you could put in your toaster.
Lego my egg.
Lego my egg. Just done.
I've got a question from the little the picture you've got up there, where it says PET down the bottom. Is that the plastic combination they've made this out of, or is that supposed to mean something else?
I got no clue. I just found it and thought that was incredibly weird.
Well, being the 70s, there's probably some plastics in there somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure the food is partially plastic. Everything was plastic back then.
I mean, margarine is essentially plastic, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
No, it's like one or two molecules away.
I mean, then again, so is American cheese. So.
Yeah, well, margarine's supposed to be.
You know what I love
black.
about American cheese? Read the label sometime. It's not cheese. It's cheese food. It's cheese food, as in food for cheese. It's not actually cheese. It's cheese food.
It's food that resembles cheese.
Yes.
Oh, well.
That's gross.
Shall we move on? To Angela Merkel admits that there are no-go zones that exist in Germany.
She finally fucking done it, the dumb slag. She finally done it.
Oh, well, the rest of the article didn't download. Oh, well. Basically, I'll sum it up for you. She finally admits that they're having some problems. But, you know, everybody knew about this. I mean, their immigration policy has basically devastated entire regions of their country. And, of course, the people who are making the decisions don't live in those neighborhoods. So, you know, if you're rich enough, you can get around all these crazy problems. But to normal Germans, yeah, I mean, God, I've heard stories about like people. What was it? That one guy who, when Muslim was shooting up his neighborhood, he was trying to distract the Muslim by insulting him from a balcony, and he got fined for racist remarks.
What?
Oh yeah. This was about a year and a half ago. Guy in Germany was throwing insults at a terrorist basically to distract him. Oh, he didn't have a gun; he had a knife. And he was slashing people. And so the guy up on the balcony was just like hurling insults down at the guy to keep him distracted until the cops could show up. And the cops heard him saying the insults. And so he got hit with a fine for racist remarks.
Wasn't New South Wales police, was it?
No, this was Germany. This was Germany.
I mean, I feel like an exception should be made here.
I think that Angela Merkel is just trying to fight for political survival at this point because I don't think anybody likes her anymore.
I think the most poignant, not the fucking meme, like one of those demotivational posters that I've seen. The most poignant one is where it's got a picture of it's Germany, Sweden, Switzerland, I think Poland, and a couple of those puncy European countries, and it's like these are the defense ministers of all of these countries, and they're all fucking women, and they're all dressed up to the nines like they're going out to a fucking taffeta, like to a fucking gala opening or some shit like that. And then the next picture, it's like, here's the defense minister of Russia, and it's this big no nonsense looking motherfucker in a general's uniform that looks like he will eat he'll eat your head, make you shit out your own head, and then fucking make you eat your own shitted out head. That's the defense minister you kind of want, not one that looks like she's going to the ballet.
Oh, I hate to slam it like you're putting it, but yeah, what is it in Sweden? We're going to be talking about Sweden later.
Good.
They're the world's first feminist country. I believe just about every one of their top electorates are all women. And they call themselves a humanitarian superpower. And if you keep track of their rape stats, it's absolutely off the charts. It's bizarre. You think a nation where all the government officials were basically women, there'd be a lot less raping going on, but apparently not.
I'm glad Katie Hopkins did this because, like, it didn't come from a bloke. She actually went to Sweden. I actually watched this morning before I went out. And she's highlighting exactly in Sweden how, like, you can't talk about it. If the females certain females find out that even a female's talking about this, and then those females will ostracize that female. And these are Swedish women ostracizing other Swedish women, not Muslim women ostracizing Swedish women. These are their own people telling them not to fucking, it's rampant. I've got subscribers that have been expressing their concerns for their female family members in those parts of the world because they know what's coming. And I know for a fact they know that, and they're correct, because we've just gone through the same shit here. And we're trying to tell you what. Yeah, Europe didn't listen.
To be honest, I don't think until the EU collapses that this is going to be fixed. But I believe the last poll I saw put the EU collapsing at about 40% of members of the EU currently think that it won't last 10 years. So, any thoughts on Angela Merkel and the status of Europe before we move on?
Yeah, either way, just with the way that Merkel wanted to run this European Union thing, it was really kind of scary from a militaristic type of point of view, because we've kind of seen this shit before. What she wanted to do was have a unified Europe under a German banner, with a unified army under a German banner, and this also included Britain. So this is basically World War II, just without firing any shots. The only problem is that while we're not firing any shots, people who are really actually nasty have infiltrated your ranks and shit like this. And this will turn into a World War I, World War II style European destabilization, because that's now the only way we're going to get rid of this. And that's the unfortunate truth about it.
Well, unfortunately, only time will tell at this point. But I think this is just another one of the cracks in the superstructure that's going to eventually the EU will collapse. There's no way it's sustainable financially or politically. At any rate, any comments from Gwendy or Drew?
No, I don't really follow a whole lot with like.
I understand. I mean, honestly, there isn't much to say then. Yep, same shit, different day.
Well, right. I'll just put it out there to you, Gwen, that you should kind of start paying attention to this, because this is cyclical. It's going around the world. If you haven't got it yet, you will have it soon in the future. And if you don't pay attention to what everybody else is doing, you're just going to be doomed to have the same mistakes that we've all made.
Sorry, I had food in my mouth.
No problem. Damn, the files are not downloading right. I wanted to talk about Bernie Sanders getting fined for taking overseas money from Australia, of all places.
Right,
Bernie Sanders' campaign took money illegally against campaign laws and basically was bribed.
Here's right. You find out who people really are at the end, right? Okay, everybody's been saying that Bernie Sanders was this really nice guy and he was all this and that. He sided with the Australian Labor Party. Boys and girls, he is not the nice guy you think he is. In fact, he is a massive fucking cunt. He's probably slightly worse than Hillary, just for the simple fact that he sided with the Australian Labor Party. If Hillary did that, she'd be worse than Bernie Sanders.
Okay, so explain me then what is the Australian Labor Party? Because I don't know.
Okay,
commies.
We've got two types of parties: is Labor and Liberal. And Liberals in Australia are completely different to the Liberals over in your country. Our Liberals want guns. Our Liberals want a strong defence force. We want a strong economy. We want jobs. We want this. Labor does nothing. We have more union strikes and all this kind of shit when Labor's in power. We do nothing but throw money at things and problems and stuff and never actually get it fixed. We end up in a huge deficit every time these lot get out of power, and it takes us up to the last time it took us 15 years to just get rid of the debt that we incurred the last time the Labor lot came in. Now, out of the two-party preferential system, we still have what's called a Governor General, and now he's the bloke that's the right-hand man to the Queen. And the Queen is the only powers that she has in Australia nowadays is that she has the right to hire and fire the Prime Minister. And the Governor General is the bloke who goes to the Queen and says, this bloke's fucking up, so we've got to get rid of him, or this bloke's doing all right, we've got to keep him. That's the thing that's what stops us from being a banana republic or something like that. Now, the Laborites want to get rid of the Queen because they do want a dictatorship and they don't want this pesky fucking Governor General hanging around. And the Labor Party is the only political party in Australia who's ever had a prime minister, a seated prime minister, fired, and that's actually happened 3 times in the last 40 years. So you guys really don't want to side with these lot. They will fuck your country. They will send you to war. They'll send you broke. They'll take all your jobs and they'll leave you in a pile of ruins.
Well, that all said, back to Bernie. I just think it's pretty
That's the
telling that
difference.
that he's willing to take the money at all. And I mean, he can say, "Oh, I didn't know it was happening" or crap like that. But no, I mean, Bernie, I'm really that guy just does not plan well. I mean, Hillary Clinton railroaded him, which I feel bad about, but then he goes around and he takes illegal money. I mean,
Well, you see, both of those two are as bad as each other. I mean, like, you got Bernie Sanders who's siding with the Australian Labor Party, yet you've got Hillary Clinton who idolised Julia Gillard, who was a Labor Prime Minister and who was never voted in once. She was appointed twice. She was actually voted out twice, but she still was made fucking Prime Minister twice.
well, actually, I got a question for Gwendy real quick here. You liked Bernie, right? Gwendy,
Yes,
you're still there?
Yeah, I'm
You
here.
liked
I'm sorry.
Bernie, right?
Yes.
Out of curiosity, do you care?
About
Him taking money from a foreign government organization, basically.
I mean, if you can prove to me that like he himself authorized this knowingly, I'd be a little irritated because it is illegal and that's not how you're supposed to go about doing that shit. On the other hand, if it was a concept where it's like he didn't actually know and it was like an aide or something that did it, then I can give him a little more benefit of the doubt.
Okay, I was just curious.
That's actually kind of the problem with that, because you will find that even if he did know, it's irrespective of the point. There'll be too many people between you and him that will say, no, he definitely didn't know. So you'll never get the right answer anyway.
Anyway, I think we've yeah, well, I mean, yeah, he's probably well insulated from the actual act, but moving on here. I know you guys have all heard about the alternative what do you call it? Gender neutral pronouns thing. Apparently, I just saw this on somebody else's channel here. The Kennesaw State University LBGT Resource Center has produced a new pamphlet providing the extensive list of gender neutral pronouns, going from ni, vi, a, z, and z, x, e. What? You know, actually, now that I'm reading this out loud, what's the difference between z, e, and x, e pronunciation wise?
It might be like the Japanese pronunciation where xi or well, it's in Japanese. It's in Japanese as well.
Gotcha. Z and G.
The part that killed me was just trying to read this out loud, like
which is still the same as SHE and
pretty much.
I mean, what's wrong with like they and them?
Oh, I mean, no, they've got that on the list here. They, them. They laughed. I called them.
I'll just stick with that.
Their eyes gleamed. That is theirs. Then we go on to Z laughed.
They missed out all the me's, the transatlantics. They missed out the tars, the transatlantics like me. Those discriminating motherfuckers. I'm gonna sue.
Stop.
I called
my microaggressions.
Zier's eyes gleam. That is Zier's. Zai likes zerself. I'm sorry, but I cannot say this. Like, you just
right,
me out of the school.
I'm just gonna stick with they and them.
Here's the typical Aussie solution to this. You mispronounce it as much as you possibly can in the most obnoxious way you possibly can until they just fucking give up.
If you do that in California, you'll be arrested. That's actually illegal.
But I wasn't informed as to how exactly I'm supposed to pronounce it, and then I have an international dialect too, so I'm not going to be able to pronounce it properly.
You're required to ask.
But that's discrimination against the tourists and stuff like that, because we're not privy to your local dialects and whatnot and all
in all fairness, though, just because you're a visitor in another country doesn't mean you shouldn't know the laws.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in that case, I do agree with that, but it's a silly law.
Well, it's arguments the police will give you.
Yeah, well, there's that. But if I go up to an American and say, look, I didn't know I was supposed to call this person 2-letter combinations that are so totally different from this fucking language that I was never going to get this from a guess, and they'll go, yeah, they're being fucking stupid, don't worry about them.
Well, I mean, in that instance, most people would be like, well, you didn't know, now you know, so just don't do it again. That's generally how most people are going to handle it. But if you're going to obnoxiously continue to do it, then you have a problem, because now you're just being an asshole.
All right, what you guys have to do is start giving these cunts free tickets to Australia so we can bring them out the back of buggery and fucking teach them what the real world's like. Let's go show them the Unky Mick. Hey, let's go show them the Unky Mick and see what Unky Mick's gonna do to him, eh? You with me?
Oh my god, no, stop.
At any rate, moving on here. College sues former student who refuses to leave their dorm. Apparently, they had a squatter from basically spent 2 years in unpaid residence in a hall on Hunter College, and owed basically $94,000 in unpaid bills.
Okay, so do you have squatters' rights over there?
Depends on the state.
Depends on the state. I don't think at this pace this would apply. And I think only squatters' rights applies to abandoned properties, not an actual dorm.
No, it does not.
No, because this actually happened in England where like you had like lords and shit they fucked off for 6 months or something like that, and then they came back and found heroin junkies all in their mansion and shit, and the local cops couldn't do shit because squatters' rights was like 3 continuous months or something like that. You have to be living in a place for every day for 3 continuous months, and then you can claim squatters' rights, and there's nothing no one can do about it.
I wonder how that would apply, because in this case, Palmer, a 32-year-old, I think she's a geography student. Whatever, she dropped out of school and like has been there since 2006. Oh, she's a geography major. She says she plans to stay and fight the case in order to continue to live for free in their dorm.
It's a bit counterintuitive, isn't it? She's going to spend money to fight to stay in a place for free.
The part of me that is blown away by all of this is the very fact that this is probably a result of the college. I mean, she's 32 years old. Okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, why haven't you gotten on with your freaking life? Why are you trying to stay in college?
Well, I want to know why is it taking them 2 friggin' years?
It's a college. They do nothing against their own students. I'm pretty sure as we speak, the rest of the college is rallying around her to stop her oppression or some crap like that.
But
not all colleges are like that.
Yeah, Hunter College. You know what? I'm interested in hearing how this plays out. Not all colleges are like that, but they're increasingly getting to the point where they don't want to offend the students because the students are a paycheck. I mean, anybody can get as much loans as they want, and so why would you offend these people? They might go away and take their money somewhere else.
Surely there's a point, right? This is a university, and they study law and shit like that in these places. Shouldn't there be some fucking instructor that should be like someone who should be listened to, that should have looked over this and went, nah, fuck it. She's got no leg to stand on. Boot the bitch out. Fucking, they should have done that bloody years ago. Obviously, they haven't with you. Done that.
That's why I'm curious as to why.
They've left it way too long.
That's why I'm curious as to why this is going on. I'm wondering if it is a squatters' rights thing. Maybe it is. Maybe they let her sit there too long, and now she can call it home.
Yeah. Well, that's you'll probably find that's the thing, because the whole point on squatters' rights is it's voluntary surrender, I think they call it. Basically, if you throw something in the bin, you are voluntarily surrendering ownership of that item. But then there's like the statutes of limitations. Like, okay, so I was talking about the lords before, right? Okay, so they leave the country for 6 months at a time, right? At what point do you say that they have now given up ownership of that place? If you have not resided in that place every day for the last 3 months, then you do not legally actually reside in that place. And that's where the squatters can come in, because if they have resided in there for every day for, say, 3 months, then they have proven that they do have constant ownership. And the statute of limitations should have been reached before then. If the owner had a disagreement with the people who are actually in the place, he should have said something about it beforehand. So that's the whole point of the squatters' rights. It's the point where the owner can't argue anymore, and the people who are squatting can go, well, you should have said something before. Sorry, mate. Too bad, so sad.
Okay, well, that's interesting now.
Yeah.
At any rate, anything else on this before we move on to Florida?
Oh, just another little side note on that. The reason why there are squatters rules and like that is so that you don't accumulate buildings and have them abandoned and all this kind of stuff. It's a way of keeping the actual usage of properties and stuff in actual usage.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
At any rate,
Yeah.
I know, Gwendy, that you love Australia because of all the wondrous wildlife there. I believe I can now add Florida to a place you're never going to go to, because in Florida, a python devoured a deer that weighed 4 pounds more than it. That's right.
Actually-
In Florida, they found an 11-foot-long python that consumed an entire deer. That
Actually,
weighed
Oh
Gwen,
my
you're
god,
still
that's so
safe.
funny.
You're still
No.
safe, Gwen. You're still safe.
No.
Yes, you know, you're
No,
still
I'm
safe.
not.
'Cause it's
It's
That snake would
Yeah.
die if it even thought about setting foot in Minnesota.
yeah, that's
no,
one
it
thing
would
for a
just kinda
start.
eat.
No. It'll freeze to death before it gets within 1,000 fucking miles of you.
Oh, yeah. It's
But you
nowhere
don't have
expecting
to
anywhere
worry
there.
about Florida. You don't have to
But
worry about Florida.
you don't
It was a
understand. No, you
Burmese.
don't understand. Ask Drew. I'm a tiny human.
No. Shh. Just chill and calm. See, it's a Burmese python. It's a Burmese python. They're not native to Florida. There's only one of the fuckers there.
Actually, they've become native to Florida. They've been, like, unfortunately, there's kind of an outbreak of them. They've been breeding like rabbits.
Well,
and they're all over the
enough
place
said,
now.
Gwen.
They've been trying to find a way to, like, get
You're
rid
on
of them,
your
and it's not working. So I think we can add the Florida Everglades and other swamps in that area to Gwendy's lists of places she will never visit.
We
This
had
needs to become a real list.
we did have a solution to your snake problem in Florida. The only problem is that he decided he was going to fucking fiddle with a manta or a stingray the wrong way.
Oh, yeah. What was his name again?
Steve Owen.
Steve Owen.
Steve.
Oh,
Steve.
still too soon.
Still too soon.
Still too soon.
Oh,
That
the funniest
man was a
fucking
gift from God.
the funniest thing about bloody Steve Irwin is that I never knew who that bastard was until I actually got a job as a firearms instructor in America, and like all these Yanks are going, "Do you know this Steve Irwin bloke?" And I'm like, "Who the fuck is Steve Irwin?" And they go, "Oh, the crocodile hunter." I was like, "Oh yeah, I know him. He lives up the street from me. He's a bit of a fuckwit." Oh, you know him, do you?
Oh my God. Well, you know, Australia, it's a small place.
No, it's not.
I mean, population-wise, maybe.
Yeah, but there's a lot of distance between a lot of us. That's why I don't kill so many people, is because I'm too fucking lazy to actually move that far.
Lazy. That's terrible.
Well, that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, poor little uni students don't like Ben Shapiro saying that they're wrong. Oh, boo-boo.
Well, whatever I did to fix the sound apparently screwed up my ability to download things because things are getting cut off. But going on about this, I read it. Basically, here's the summary. Ben Shapiro, and if you've ever listened to the guy, he's pretty articulate, pretty straightforward, and he's not, like, rude.
He's another Milo.
Yeah, I mean, but unlike Milo, he isn't as sarcastic and mean. But
Yeah, he's a straight Milo.
Yeah, he's a straight, direct kind of, okay guy. He just doesn't like people to, lie to him, and he knows all of his facts. And apparently they want to shut him down from coming to speak about free speech.
Because he's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
the irony of trying to stop him from speaking about free speech is so thick you can just cut it with a knife. But this is Georgetown. Yet again, more craziness happening from universities.
Hold on. Okay. Who is Ben Shapiro? Because I feel like I've heard this name and not in good context.
He's this Jew who is
would've.
right wing. He's a right wing Jew. That's to sum him up.
Yeah, you know Milo Yiannopoulos, right?
I don't like that person. He needs to fall off
Okay,
this.
yeah, well, Ben Shapiro is just basically another version of Milo
Except he's
Yiannopoulos, just
nice
without the gayness.
and polite.
Yeah, he's a bit more.
Yeah.
He's a bit more personable.
Yeah, he actually tries to treat people with respect. He just doesn't. He just cannot tolerate a lie. So if you try to bullshit this guy, he's got like a supercomputer brain. He knows every fact about whatever you're talking about. So if you try to bullshit him, he goes, "No, actually, that study you're talking about, I read it," and then he'll correct you, and you'll be like,
I mean,
It's kind of
That's
amazing
not
to
a
watch him in
bad-
place.
Yeah,
I
if
might
you
have to
want
look
to, if you,
him up.
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
if
Gwendy,
you
what were you
want the
saying?
tongue,
I'm sorry, did you say something, Gwendy?
Oh, I said I might have to look him up.
Yeah, no, I mean
Yeah.
he's a right wing, you know, but I mean he's pretty. I mean I like his cadence and how he talks. Sometimes I don't agree with everything he says, but he's tries to be polite, you know. So I mean he doesn't like being rude, and he tries to like treat people with respect. Even when people are like completely rude to him, he gets nicer the worse you treat him, which is something I like about him.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the funnest thing though.
yeah, if you want a smart ass who likes to take the piss out of the situation, then you go to Milo. If you want just the facts, you go to Ben. You get exactly the same thing, just two different presentations.
I wish I knew what was wrong with my downloads. Any rate, history professor calls for repeal of the Second Amendment.
Yeah, and that's gonna last about 30 bloody seconds.
Yeah, I mean it's just more craziness out of universities these days. Where I mean, I unfortunately I can't help the rest of the article here. Oh, hey Dodge, how's it going? Feel free to jump on if you want. But it's if you go through his reasoning, it's all emotional based. It's all pleas and talks about like, you know, feels and America's always been this bloody place. And, you know, it's a history professor and he hates America, you know, and I think that's a recurring theme among American universities these days, unfortunately.
And what this idiot doesn't understand is that now he's opened his mouth, he's just let himself open for every other history professor that actually does know half a clue about what they're talking about to come back and then just fucking shit on this guy from a great height. Because every argument that he's made about historical events and all this kind of stuff, I guarantee you there is a counter rebuttal to that argument that has just as much, if not more, credence than what his initial argument was. And if you're going to use history as precedent, you're going to find more historical events that are precedents that are going to shit on your argument. So don't get into historical arguments.
Just 1 second. I'm going to try shutting all the windows since they're not loading properly and reload them. Hold on a sec.
Did you make sure your Apple thingies turn back off?
Trying.
Oh, cool. Audio is okay. Yeah, Jacob, you probably didn't get it because we probably confused the shit out of YouTube. We were trying a bunch of stuff and had a dozen like minute-long streams up. So yeah, we probably confused it.
Or
God
YouTube's
damn,
just trying to
it's
fire us all again.
It's not loading. I don't know why.
What do you mean YouTube's trying to fire us? I thought they already did that. Or do you want a better pay grade?
No,
than
they're
we
trying.
do?
They're trying to put us on double secret fired.
Okay. So shit. Does that mean we're gonna have to start paying them soon?
I mean, I am subscribed to YouTube Reds, so.
I'm not.
Well, I was because
What
they
is
had it.
YouTube
for, like,
Red? I see it every once in a while.
It's essentially an ad-free YouTube.
Yeah, basically it's a paid service that you don't have to pay for the ads, so that the content creators can still get the ad revenue just without having the ads. Sort of like a cheap Netflix.
And also you get access to such wonderful shows like Jake Paul's show.
Oh, and the after shows and all the special features bits and stuff like that where they're just talking about nothing.
That too. Also, you get to watch Scare PewDiePie, which was actually pretty decent.
Oh, and until he came out to be a Nazi and they fired him too.
I'm not even. Just full on white girl at Starbucks. Can't even.
about the whole union thing being passed around. What union thing?
Oh, the union thing? Hold on one second. I'm going to try and shut down the... For some reason, Firefox is dying on me.
Oh, they're doing updates on that then. Yeah,
What
Firefox
is
like
it?
YouTube.
What did I do? Which did I piss off Ganesh, god of the internet? You know, stomper of roadblocks and destroyer of firewalls. Did I annoy him or something?
I thought Al Gore was god of the internet. Didn't
No, he just created Ganesh, the elephant-headed god of Hindu faith, is the god that rules over the internet.
I thought that was Deadpool.
Nope. It's an elephant-headed god. Yep.
Oh yeah. No, Jacob. Yeah, now I know. Yeah. Well, it's not a stupid idea because of what YouTube is actually doing, especially by firing all the small creators. They've basically gone to their lawyers, and their lawyers have said, right, everyone who's got this amount of subscribers and views and shit, right, anyone who's got less than that, you can fuck them off. They don't have a leg to stand on. They don't have the financial ability to come and sue you. They probably wouldn't even be able to organise a class action, so you can fuck them off. Don't worry about them. They're not going to sue you. Everybody who they aren't touching has the financial ability to go and fucking sue these bastards. So I'm gathering with this union thing, what this German dude has done is he's trying to get a lot of these smaller YouTubers together so that you can get a class action going. And I think that's what YouTube's pretty much shitting bricks about, because they're already into it a lot for like the PewDiePies on YouTube. They think they've gotten away with it with all the people who are only getting a few views and a few dollars. But if all of these $1 and $2 get together and then all of a sudden there's 1 million of these fuckers, well, there's $2 million that fucking YouTube's looking at having to go and pay out. That's what they really don't want to do. The whole point of YouTube is they're trying to save money, not spend it. And yeah, this union thing is not a stupid idea. I don't think it'll work very well. But it's not the dumbest idea on the planet. It's basically the last sort of option that the smaller YouTubers like myself have got, really.
Yeah, I mean, I went over there and I joined their Facebook. I don't think much is going to happen from it, though, unfortunately.
No, well, I'm not joining it because of that. It's I can't see it going anywhere. I've already relegated myself to I'm never getting a cent off of YouTube. I'm not here for that anymore anyway, so it doesn't really bother me. But if they want to go ahead and do that, that's, yeah, more power to them.
That's why I have a Patreon, for when I actually get around to making content again.
All right, finally, I got it to upload stuff. I wish I knew what the heck was going on. At any rate, the quote from the professor, by the way, this is, let's get rid of this antiquated and blood-drenched amendment, and let's end the slaughter. I mean, unfortunately, if you want to call it a slaughter, the deaths have actually been going down pretty steadily over time. So as far as slaughter goes, it's hardly a slaughter, but I understand.
Bob, I hate to interrupt you, but you are very quiet and you're cutting out.
How is it now? Is it that better? God damn it!
That's
this
better.
is just not working this week, man.
All right, now you're cutting out again.
Well, you're all right, my end.
Yeah, same.
One sec, I'm gonna try something with the volume.
Snow on the phone lines.
How's that sounding?
That's better.
Okay, well, let's hope it lasts. You know, I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but I wonder if YouTube is screwing with me, because every other website I deal with, I have no problems. You know, everything that I'm trying to deal with YouTube is giving me, like, it's screwing up my computer for some reason. Anyway, moving on. If it'll load, this is one of the ones I wanted to talk to you about. Man fatally shot himself in the head outside of the White House, people say. I don't know. Did you guys hear about this one?
What?
No, briefly heard about that. Just basically the Cliff Notes.
Yeah, there isn't much to know about, but yeah, some guy basically walked up to right outside of the White House on Saturday and shot himself in the head.
Yeah, now, but was this front gate or front door?
Let's see, outside fence line. So he was just at the fence line. Yeah, people can walk past that all the time.
Yeah, fence line's a big nothing burger, but if it was the front door, yeah, then you'd be like, okay, so where the fuck was all the Secret Service?
Well, actually, we had a woman intentionally ram her car into the barrier of the gate about 10 days ago. So,
oh yeah, I remember
the thing is, though, I've been trying to figure out what's this guy's motivations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and I can't really find much about him. Like, you'd think something like this would be really big, and the media be all over it, but I haven't heard anything on mainline news. I haven't heard anything about this.
My computer's about to die, so...
I'm sorry to hear that, man. Everybody's having problems tonight. You know what? I mean, I'm glad we finally got it going and got something going, but maybe we might need to just call it quits tonight, because this is just... this is just aggravating this weekend. This is crazy. I'm gonna skip to the last one that's interesting in my opinion, and then we're just gonna call it quits. You guys good?
Mm-hmm.
I've lost video. I don't know about audio. I'm gonna quickly try and...
Gotcha. I just thought this was interesting. Twice as nice. Barbara Streisand cloned her beloved dog.
Huh.
I don't know if there's anything really to say about this other than I think this is kind of the mindset of like the Hollywood elite, where they apparently have enough disposable money to go around through the effort of taking the cells from the mouth and stomach of her dog Samantha and having it cloned into 2 new dogs. Anybody with that kind of mindset, I don't know, is in contact with the rest of America in general. Yep, and there's the file that goes again. My God, this is just awful tonight. Well, this is our usual, I don't know, quality, I guess. I don't know about you guys, but my whole rhythm's off as well, trying to get this all working here. How about you guys? You think this is a good place to stop?
Yeah, I think this is a good place, because, like, you're still cutting out in and out pretty bad. And
yeah, I'm gonna, although really if you guys are paying attention, I'm probably gonna be experimenting on and off over the night, see if there's anything I can do to improve the stream. So at this point, after we end the stream here, don't pay attention to anything else tonight, because we're not streaming. I'm just experimenting. Any final thoughts or comments from anybody before we head out?
I have a question.
Shoot.
Why do kids love the cinnamony taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
Oh my God.
You mean the cannibal cereal that eats itself?
Yes.
I don't know, but I will say this. It is creepy as hell. I mean, do you remember Apple Jacks? It's basically Apple Jacks, but a square.
I can see it. And apple flavored.
Yeah, well, yeah, Cinnamon Toast Crunch doesn't have the apple to it, so, but, I mean, it kind of tastes the same to me, just it's a different shape.
Man, now I want Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Why do I do these things to myself?
I have no idea. At any rate, I guess we'll call it here. Sorry, everybody, for the crappy whatever this week. Whatever. So, hopefully, you know, I'll patch something up and we'll try something tomorrow night. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next week and see if we can't, I don't know, figure out what the hell's going on. So, it's been real and it hasn't been fun. Otherwise, any last thoughts before we go?
I'm sorry that everything's not working.
I'm going to go get me some of those egg waffles.
Yeah, I could go for some egg waffles. Let's go for some flapjacks. Let's all pack into a car and head out and get some flapjacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 a.m. flapjacks are the best flapjacks.
With strawberry.
With strawberry.
Maple syrup.
All right, so we're ending it here. Thanks everybody for those of you who showed up. Man, this one sucked.